You know, unless I have Hitler's body, I can't say, here's the smoking gun. This is what happened to Adolf Hitler. What I know is the high-ranking Nazis made it out of South America, or they made it out of Germany into South America. And in South America, while they were there, they were being used for a multitude of reasons, to include fighting communism and socialism. And you know, why was it in the JFK files? You know, why is anything about Hitler in the JFK files? Well, the JFK files are fighting communism. That's what they're about. If you look at what was happening in Cuba and you know, even maybe the potential assassin, who he was working for, who he was talking to, where he was going to be defecting to, it all comes down to communism. And Hitler is in those files because he and the rest of the Nazi party were a great tool in the fight of communism post-World War II.
All right, for the rest of the hour, Tim Kennedy, my good buddy, Green Beret, Patriot, UFC fighter, talk show host of an investigator on hunting Hitler, is with us. And I was trying to get him on a month ago about hunting Hitler because the third season was coming out. He said, I got to wait. But then this weekend, I'm on his Twitter, and I'm on my feed, and I see, okay, I didn't read these new documents out of the JFK stuff. And sure enough, I went to the National Archives. There it was, Hitler in 55, photographed in Argentina, like everybody always said. They found the witnesses, the old submarine, German mansions built in the middle of mountains. I mean, wow. Now, you can't tell us the new stuff. This is a short segment, but coming up, you're telling me, Tim Kennedy, this is dead on.
Yeah, we've known it for a long time. People have suspected it, but we have real evidence. Like, you cannot deny the proof that we've found. You can't deny the documents that are being released. I mean,
so third season is the total money shot of a hit show.
We found things that people have been looking for 75 years, and we found actual evidence.
God, you found the submarine and all the rest of it. I mean,
yeah. I mean, a real U-boat with the capabilities of transporting high-value
But there's
targets.
Germans everywhere. I mean, they admit a lot of them did go over there. We had the Operation Paperclip here.
Yeah, fascists, the enemy of our friend, or how does it go? Our the enemy, our friend's enemy is our friend.
Yes. Yeah. It's the enemy of my enemies, my friend.
Yeah, there we go. We hated socialism. We hated communism. I still do. And in the South, we found that fascism was an opportunity to fight communism growing in Venezuela and Argentina. So these fascist dictators, we maybe even helped. And we found real evidence of what they're doing and how they're doing it. It was frightening.
Incredible. But, I mean, how is it Hunting Hitler comes out a few years ago? It's a top show on History Channel. And then now, right as it's about to come out, CIA files, which he tried to block, Hitler was alive down there. Do you have any idea how old he was when he died or where he may be buried?
Well, first of all, thanks for the CIA for releasing that 30 days before the TV show comes out. That's fantastic work. I had all total to do with that. No, you know, whether he died in that bunker where he didn't, we took a different approach for this season. We did the exact same thing that everybody has done in the past 10 years searching for terrorists. The way that we caught bin Laden, the way that we caught Zarqawi, we looked at their network. We followed the information, the trails and the evidence of the people that were facilitating these high-level Nazis. Guys like Skorzeny, guys like Joseph Mengele.
Klaus Barbie.
Yeah, Klaus Barbie, perfect example. We trailed those guys from where they left Germany, how they came into Argentina, where they lived, who was in charge, and by that, we brought in this girl, Nadia. She was crucial. She is one of the most important CIA targeters that worked in finding bin Laden and finding Zarqawi that brought down the Al-Qaeda network in 2006. We brought her in specifically to do targeting for these Nazis in the 40s and the 50s and even into the 60s and 70s in South America. And we, you know,
But that makes sense now that I think about it. Look for other Nazis and then track back where they came from. That's going to find where Hitler at least landed, and then you can try to track where he went.
Yeah, you can't just look for the man. The man disappeared. South America is a massive, beautiful country. And when you got Uruguay, Paraguay, Chile, Brazil, all of them friendly to fascism, to Nazis on the run.
It's like trying to find a needle in a whole continent.
Yeah, but we just took the whole entire haystack, we burnt that to the ground, and then we just picked up that nice little piece of metal and said, got you.
Wow. We'll be right back with Tim Kennedy, Hunting Hitler, Season 3. Man, Tim Kennedy says the most amazing stuff during the breaks. We got to get him to repeat it now here on air. Tim Kennedy, TimKennedyMMA.com, Twitter, Tim Kennedy MMA, Facebook, Tim Kennedy MMA. Doing so much more. As you said, MMA is just one part of the great work you do in the military. I know it's been in the news. You've re-enlisted. I know that's all classified, so we can't get into it. But you're doing a lot of important work. It's probably better you just lead the conversation so I don't get anything secret you're doing. But right in the middle of it, you're the main investigator of many other great ones on hunting Hitler right as the CIA files get declassified, partly on Friday, fully on Saturday, saying, okay, Hitler's alive. 1955, here's the photos, here's where he's at, here's what's going on, what do we do? Nothing happens. You were telling me during the break, why nothing happened?
It's a bummer part. You know, when you look at Hitler, he's a deplorable, disgusting, evil human that killed millions and millions of people, you know, 10, 20 million people. And the acts that he committed, we can't overlook and can never be forgiven. You know, fascism should never exist in any capacity. But at the same time, at the end of the war in 1945, there's no question what the next worry was. The next enemy is going to be communism. And when you have Mao killing, you know, 45 million people, and then Stalin at the lowest,
that's conservative, by the way.
Yeah, the lowest estimates for Mao in the 45 million is up to 100 million. If you look at Stalin, the lowest estimate in the 20 million up to 65 million. So while, yes, Hitler is a horrible thing, we have the founders.
That's a monster that's already defeated.
Yeah, Hitler's gone. He's dead. Fascism is not going to be rising again, and we know that. But we know the great threat is now the red threat, the communist threat that is trying to infiltrate into Asia. It's trying to make its way into South America.
Already had Hollywood.
Completely by the balls. It is in North America.
Using Soviet sex operatives.
Yeah, and we had to fight with the most vicious fire that we could get our hands on, and that was fascism. So.
And that's why you have the rat line and paperclip. But then Hitler, obviously, the really bad ones we know, they actually sent to South America. They were kind of on their own. That's what everybody always knew. They made movies about it. But to see the rumors true. And then you're the guy that has the big TV show investigating it.
Yeah. You know, unless I have Hitler's body, I can't say, here's the smoking gun. This is what happened to Adolf Hitler. What I know is the high-ranking Nazis made it out of South America, or they made it out of Germany into South America. And in South America, while they were there, they were being used for a multitude of reasons, to include fighting communism and socialism. And we, you know, why was it in the JFK files? You know, why is anything about Hitler in the JFK files? Well, the JFK files are fighting communism. That's what they're about. If you look at what was happening in Cuba and you know, even maybe the potential assassin, who he was working for, who he was talking to, where he was going to be defecting to, it all comes down to communism. And Hitler is in those files because he and the rest of the Nazi party were a great tool in the fight of communism post-World War II. Fascism's gone. We defeated the Germans.
And we know deals were almost made at the very end of World War II to actually merge with the Germans and take on the Soviets then. Patton wanted to do that. One reason he was assassinated.
Yeah, there's 1945 was the beginning of our next biggest, greatest war, which we're still fighting now, which is the war against communism, the war against socialism.
And MacArthur wanted to end it a few years later in 1953. They removed him when he was about to beat the Chinese in Korea.
We've never truly defeated the communist ideals, and I don't know for what reason. We have had multiple opportunities where we could have crushed them, but we just kind of let them exist. And or it perpetuates, I don't know, the war.
And now Antifa is literally...
They don't deserve that name, by the way.
Because they're not anti-fascist.
No, they're not.
America was.
Yeah, America is.
Yeah.
Yeah, just say America. Like, if you want to fight fascism, if you want to fight socialism, if you want to fight communism, just say you're American. Because that's what we are. We don't burn flags. We don't take a knee when the beautiful national anthem.
We don't ban people's free speech. We don't wear black uniforms. That's communism and fascism. So, again... I mean, so obviously they're communists. They know they're communists. A lot of them, though, don't even know who they are. They claim they're going to cause civil war this weekend. I think it's going to be a dud.
God, I mean, it's going to be a dud because they're incapable and they're impetulant little children. That they have no idea even what they're fighting for or how to fight. So the fact that they think that they're going to show up and be able to overthrow a government, that there's men like me, and there's thousands, tens of thousands of men like me that love America, that are barrel-chested freedom fighters, that we think that we're just going to allow you to come on some arbitrary day on November 4th and be like, all right, we're going to get rid of this Pence and Trump group. Not going to happen.
And that's my next point. You made a great point in your own words about this Mueller indictment or indictments.
Yeah, it's you want to talk about draining the swamp. You know, everybody's talking about Mueller and like, oh, this special investigator, he's really pulling the lid off now. No, everything that he is showing, he is exposing the true corruption. And the fact that Trump was able to fire this man months after he hired him, realizing that he did not fit in with the values and the ethics and the things that he wants to perpetuate into what is now this beautiful administration. Mueller's really showing that Podesta and the collusion with the Russians had nothing to do with Trump. And the fact that he's making these arrests and these indictments are even more supporting what we already know. That
yeah, it's not filing tax forms and then they call that money laundering when he was running whole campaigns in Europe that were pro-America, and then he was the guy that was the paymaster, and then they're claiming those transactions were fraudulent because they didn't file tax forms in the U.S. when they were foreign tax forms.
No, these are... Any interaction that or collusion that happened was way before Trump. And now the fact that Trump got rid of him before anything ever happened with him is just another indication that there's nothing more, that this is going to be a
exactly. This is their big shot. This is Mueller hit us with everything he's got, and all he's hoping is Manafort and Rich and others get scared and then say, okay, I'll say whatever you want.
Yeah, with what's being revealed about with GPS and Hillary Clinton and what Manafort is revealing that there was multiple opportunities for collusion, but none of it had to do with Trump. All it's doing is exposing all of the other evil things that our politicians were doing. So this is just a great, I don't know if it's strategic, but it might be a flawless execution on Trump and his administration to really show how dirty and evil and corrupt Hillary and the rest of those administrations and politics were.
Well, you were saying to me during the break, they're kind of draining themselves.
Yeah, and inadvertently, they're like, oh, look what we just found. We got a great indictment. It's like, you realize you're blowing the lid off yourself and you're exposing that one Trump.
And that's the thing. I don't just put a positive spin on things to feel good. Everything's starting to go our way. They act like such buffoons. They're involved in such corruption. But I wonder, what's the next level of their temper tantrum? I don't want to be too confident.
No. That's a really scary thing. When about Hitler and Antifa, gun control, anytime you want to get an idea about if the government's lying to you or if a group, anyone is lying to you, look at what their narrative is. Look at what their agenda is. Look at what they would need to happen for propaganda purposes, and then see how that occurred in the news. And I know governments lie to us. Like, we've known it forever. We know that Benghazi didn't happen because some guy in Hollywood made a video. You know, we know that JFK, that communism was involved in his assassination, even though it had been denied for decades. We know that now. So we need to look and say, okay, if there's a reason that they're saying this, if they're trying to draw our attention over here, whether it's a shooting in Las Vegas, whether it's riots in the street on November 4th, it's going to be for a reason. We have to be ready for it.
Let's talk about that when we come back on the other side with Tim Kennedy. Stay with us.
What the aging process is when the cell replicates, we lose a little bit of our telomeres. Telomeres are the little cups on the end of our chromosomes.
And when it runs out, you start dying. Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com.